When we analyze nationally all 45,000 zip codes and see what explains growth of jobs, total jobs in all areas, over a long a period as we can get for comparable data, the #1 driver of growth in jobs is arts jobs. Arts can drive general economy, but it's the so-called creative sector, as well as leisure, as well as adding a different way, an aesthetic sensitivity to what we do, even if it's driving a taxi or feeding the baby. That people feel more identified with an area, with a city, and with what they're doing, if they can link it to the arts and to aesthetics. The downtown 3-mile area in Chicago has grown more relative to its suburbs than any other metro area in the U.S. We're growing in downtown faster than Seattle, LA, New York, or whatever. And many feel, certainly in City Hall, that Millennium Park, the entertainment, the 4-month summer festivals are a key driver. Chicago has more neighborhood festivals by a huge number than any other U.S. city. The City Hall, the mayor's office has created a special events section that helps people with neighborhood festivals. They get all the permits, they get the police and so forth very easily. In other places it's hard. That reflects the degree to which we have 50 wards, 50 aldermen, and a sense of participation in these neighborhood, ethnic, often national origin-based festivals, which are drivers and preserving this kind of dynamism. The head of the National Endowment for the Arts said if every other city were like Chicago, we'd have a transformed world. That Chicago is really considered if not the national leader in many arts activities in the U.S. today, and certainly in the increase. That is, we didn't have this as a tradition. Mayor Daley learned this. Other people have really picked this up in the last 10 or 15 years. That's why it's so exciting, because the city has gone from being the city of broad shoulders to being arts and aesthetics in just a few decades. Wicker Park is the classic arts neighborhood, maybe followed by a little chunk of Pilsen in Chicago these days. Rich Lloyd has done a splendid book, a student of ours, called Neo-Bohemia on Wicker Park, and he stresses the degree to which hopeful artists have moved to Wicker Park. But they then lamented how it became inauthentic, and when there was in particular a national television show about the area, which played it up and brought in too many people, which gave it a buzz which the local folks disliked and felt it was inauthentic in their terms. Buzz is simply discussion, public relations, news, gossip, everything that relates to an activity in addition to the activity itself. But it's critical for people to know, and so it's part of what drives the economic development, if you can attract people to Wicker Park, for instance. It's also something which can be exchanged as a political resource. So if you say, I'm the alderman from the Wicker Park area, we'd like to have this, Mr. Mayor, the mayor will pay more attention if there's more buzz as a resource. So it's economic, it's political, it's social, and can be exchanged like money or like votes or like any other resource in a political system. So in a sense, if you think of in terms of a monetary analogy as gold or money as being the base, you can have inflation, a buzz inflation, if you get a whole lot of talk about stuff, more fluff than there is actual content. Or there's a ratio between, the total level of coverage and then the underlying, say, amenities and arts-related activities. How do we measure these dimensions? We have 15 dimensions of scenes, and we download yellow page items, restaurants, cafes, boutiques, tattoo parlors, and we include unpublished census data at the zip code level. We put them together, we add them up, and we weight them, and we get transgression, self-expression, localism, and other things for every zip code, 45,000 in the entire U.S. We're looking at things like Twitter tweets, So if we measure, for instance, Twitter tweets in a zip code across 45,000 zip codes, then we classify them by restaurants. You can then, say restaurant tweets, then you can look at the number of restaurants in time 1 and time 2, and the number of people and the number of jobs in time 1 and time 2. Control for education and income, race, and other crime and things, and then say, does buzz as measured that way have a distinct, unique, additional impact? We deliberately, in the last 10 years, as we've worked on scenes, we're looking at where and how information which spreads may have this impact. Does it work globally, but then specifically, how do the rules of the game change? Are the French more aesthetically sensitive than Chinese rural areas? And how much so? That we can measure.